Thanks, Bert. How are you doing? How's it going, guys? How are you? How is life? I really have nothing to talk about. I just kind of felt compelled to go live on YouTube because I haven't done that in a while, and it's a nice day. I'm just on my balcony, alone, just hanging out, drinking some water. It's pretty hot outside. It's like, let me check the weather. 31 degrees right now in Ottawa, Ontario. So it's pretty hot. It's Celsius, not Fahrenheit, by the way. Yeah, it's 32 degrees. Damn. We are definitely in the midst of a heat wave. Oh, wow. Wait, we got a comment. I like poop by Birch. And they're saying, do you like poop? Birch, it's not a question whether I like poop. It's the question is, do I love poop? And the question is, it depends. Or the answer is, it depends. It does depend on what's happening with the poo. But I think in general, I do like poo. I think poo has a lot of good functions, and you can be used as fertilizer, which is great. Yeah, no, I'm a very, very big fan of poo. I love this very stimulating conversation. I remember, I'm really liking it. Apparently, in Ottawa, it says I'm looking at this temperature map. Um, so it's 90 degrees in Ottawa, Fahrenheit. I think 31 Celsius to Fahrenheit. That's more 80. Okay, it's 88 Fahrenheit. Across the United States, even Texas, Houston, Texas, 85 degrees right now. So we're even hotter than Houston, Texas right now. It's just crazy. Phoenix, Arizona has got us beat though. Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona is really hot. You Americans make me really jealous of your weather. I really wish that was a bit more temperate here in the winter. Whenever it's really hot here, I get really excited. So I love the heat. So it's great. Kaja K asks, "Hey, how's it going?" It's going great. I'm just hanging out in the balcony. Decided to do a live stream. And yeah, just hanging out in the balcony. It's nice. It's pretty hot outside. Having some water that I'm sipping on, so it's a good time. Phoenix is hell on earth. Yeah, I was actually looking into Phoenix, Arizona. It's kind of interesting because they have this phenomenon of like vitamin D deficiency, and I was like wondering why that even happens because it's like super sunny there. There's not a lot of clouds, and apparently it's literally just because people don't go out in the summer because it's way too hot there, which is pretty crazy. So yeah. I mean, but I think in the winter it's probably not bad. What am I working on now? I am well. Currently I'm doing a live stream, so that's that's what I'm working on. But I put out a song yesterday. If you guys haven't, or 2 days ago, if you guys have listened to it, and you guys should, if you guys are into dubstep, you should listen to that song. I'm pretty proud of it. It's called "In the Nick of Time." I put it out yesterday on this channel, or 2 days ago on this channel, and yeah, it's like this orchestral dubstep track, and I'm pretty excited to play out live in the next chance I get. So yeah, it's I've been working on that. I've been working on other music. I've also been writing a script for a like a movie that I want to film this summer as well. I have a script deadline, like a soft deadline in like a couple weeks. So hopefully I can get that finished up soon. But yeah, it's I'm pretty excited about this movie. So yeah, because I don't know if any of you guys have watched Antopia, but so far Antopia is my it's it's like the magnum opus. And I really want Antopia is a classic. I know, Antopia is always always brings me joy to my life. But well, it'd be great if make something better as well. Try to up the ante. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, and then for Antopia as well, there we were thinking about doing a like a sequel, and but it's like it's hard to get people on board because people are it's like I mean at the time when we were filming it, it was 2017. Actually, we started filming in 2017. Which I feel really old whenever I say that out loud, but yeah, that's 6 years ago, and people were a little bit more inclined to do that kind of stuff back in the day. And now everyone's kind of like, like I don't know, like I'm 25, 26, and people are 26. And when the actors, she was he's like 2 years older, so he's probably like turning 28. And I don't know who's gonna be down to do a sequel for Antopia. But it's I have a loose script brewing around there around that subject as well. So yeah. Um, Hello, L. How are you doing? Doing fine. It's good. Fine is great. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just chilling on my balcony, just sipping some water, hanging out. It's pretty hot outside right now, so I'm just taking it all in while I can before we have 8 months of winter again. So I'm excited to just be chilling on the balcony, doing a live stream, just hanging out. Yeah, one sec. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, the birds are very a chirping. It's always nice, and also the ambient sounds of the traffic is always nice as well. Did any of you guys go to Dreg's thing yesterday? The Dreg's Theory of Everything show. He did a live show in Vancouver yesterday. Apparently, it went really well. Yeah, I really want to see the live recording for that show. That'll be sick. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, definitely. If you lived anywhere in North American continent, definitely would have been a bit easier to get to that show. Although I live in North America, so I really had no excuse. Except it's like I don't know, like it's probably like 15,000 kilometers or something away to get there for me. But although I was actually tempted, I got invited out to watch it, and I was like very I don't know I was considering it because the flight tickets were like pretty cheap. It was like $250 round trip, but it was like from Ottawa to Vancouver round trip, which was like a really good deal. And I was, I have like work, so I can't really like bounce for too long. But I was thinking like if I could just leave for like 2 days or 3 days or something and come back just to catch a show would have been cool. But I had a lot of plans yesterday, so I couldn't really make it out. Yeah, so Al, I didn't go because yeah, I live in Ottawa and the show was in Vancouver, so it's hefty flight. But I mean, I think the recording is going to be available at some point, so that's going to be cool. Ugh. Oh, what do you guys think about the? I'm hearing a lot of buzz about this debt ceiling stuff. This U.S. debt ceiling stuff. Uh, what do you guys think? Do you think the U.S. is going to default? What do you guys say? You guys think it's over for the United States? Because it's a very interesting situation. I don't think I've ever really. I know the debt ceiling standoff has happened before, but not as intensely as it's happening now. So it's like everyone's like talking about the U.S. running out of money and like being not able to pay like their creditors and go out of go into a default. Well, yeah, I mean I guess they literally just could print more, but I think the idea is they always Yeah, I think that's the idea. Like they always like I'm not really I'm like I don't have that much information about it. Like I don't really know too much about it, but it's been something that people have been going nuts over. So it's definitely interesting to see. They always put their debt ceiling higher whenever they reach it. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what's been happening every couple of years, eh? Um, like it's as far as I understand, it's more of just like whenever they have like whenever they approach a debt ceiling, it's an opportunity for the other party to kind of come in and kind of force the other party into submission and like and to compromise, I guess, with the various policies that they otherwise wouldn't have agreed on. But like, yeah, I don't think anybody really wants a default to happen. I really don't think that's. I really don't think that's going to happen. But I talked to some of my talking with some of my friends, and one of my friends is like was really rude to me, and he was like read a book. It's gonna default. I'm like, all right, well, if it's gonna default, then how about this? I pay you $50 if US default, and if it doesn't default, you pay me $10. Right now, that's our bet. So I think I have decent odds because the U.S. has never, went to a default. But I mean, we'll see about that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. The next couple of days, at least. Yeah, finance is pretty interesting. When was your live or last live stream? I think I clicked on your New Year's one. Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, I did a live stream. The New Year's one. Yo, that was a long time ago. That was like a year and a half ago, actually. Because I don't think I did a live stream for this New Year's. Although I should have. I was really thinking about it. No, the last live stream I did was when my brain finally solidified into and stopped having any bit of neuroplasticity. Is when I turned 25. I did a live stream at like 11:50 p.m. until like 11. Oh no, it's an hour long stream. Damn. Okay, that's pretty long. But yeah, that was my last stream. So I did that last July. So it's been like 10 months. It's been a hot minute, and I'm thinking more like I don't know. I think like these streams are kind of fun, and I don't know if you guys are enjoying them or anything. I mean, there's 7 of you watching, 2 likes. I guess 2 likes is okay, but these things are pretty fun. I'm having a good time just chatting away. What kind of content would you guys? I'll make that. Oh, yes, Brent. Let's go. 3 likes. Yes. What kind of content would you guys want me to do if I were to do like these streams? Because like I want to make videos and it's just like personally I have too many things going on. I'm like writing a script. I'm making music. I'm practicing DJing for like performances that I'm doing. And if you guys are ever in Ottawa, like I'll be sure to just hit me up. I'll give you a free ticket to one of these performances. But yeah, but in between all these things, if I'd be down to do these streams more often. These streams are good. If you guys wanted me to talk about anything specific on these live streams, like, let me know. Oh yeah, L, let's go. Another Naked 4. And then there's another one who uploaded as well. But yeah, it's it's life's been busy. Life's been busy. Yeah. So this movie I'm making, I'm writing a script for. I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be like this philosophy movie. I'm really excited about the idea because I don't know. It's something that I've been thinking about for like a really long time, and then I finally decided to just send it and just try to like really make it like make it happen. Um, it's basically the is every movie a philosophy movie? That is a philosophical question itself. I don't know. I guess so. And Transformers is peak philosophy, if you ask me. Yeah. So the movie is going to be about. So I told this to my parents, and they're like, "Yo, what is this?" But the idea of the movie is uh, it's basically going to be a movie about itself. Um, and that's I guess that's all I can really talk about it until like unless I don't know. It's like it's pretty confusing to write. Um, a meta movie, yeah. Whoa, no, but it's not. But it's not a movie about making a movie though. See, that's a common misconception about the movie about itself. It's going to be a movie literally about itself, right? Like what does it mean to be about yourself, right? Like what is it? It's basically yeah. Anyways, that's kind of the idea. So I have pretty big plans for this. So hopefully, and I have like a budget. I'm trying to, if I'm, I'd be down to dig some funds into this as well. So trying to get some actors and special effects and all this cool stuff into it as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that project. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. So like a meta modern movie. Uh, yeah, I guess it's similar flavor. Um, yeah, I guess it's so like because yeah, it's not definitely not postmodern or postmodern. I guess meta modern would be the best way to categorize it. Um, yeah, I guess meta modern. Yeah, although yeah, it's yeah, I guess it is a meta modern movie. Oh, Brent, or you're in Ireland. Well, fly down to Ottawa. You're not too far. Just ocean plane ride away. Get Dreg to act for it. He's a good actor. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's really busy. I was thinking of just like if you wanted to be in the movie, I could probably get him for a couple scenes, but um, I'd be down to get someone who has a decently open schedule for that. Hey, Mini Pasilla, how's it going? Is that even how you pronounce your name, Mini Pasilla? Mini Pasilla, Mini Pasilla. Is the first time I pronounce it good? Mini Pasilla. Cool. Uh, are you worried about music creation AI taking away your job? Oh, don't even talk to me about AI. I had a when ChatGPT came out, I kind of or became more more aligned with the mainstream. I kind of I thought it was cool. I started playing around with it, and then all these other AI tools started coming out like right after. Like and then some of these graphic tools like Midjourney, and then Drada or Crayon, or um, what's that other drawing tool, the AI drawing tool. Anyways, but there's a lot of AI tools are uh, really going up, are on the up and up right now. So it is definitely very scary, because there's been talk about like visual artists having their jobs kind of automated, and there's also I was shown this thing that could basically, I forget what it's called, but you can basically take like a drawing of a character, like a simple sprite, and then just like plug it in, and it'll basically animate the character based on prompts. And you got to like just like identify where the legs and arms are, but it can animate that, which is pretty crazy. And music so far, I'm not worried in like the short term, but I mean, already have like we have people that are already losing their jobs, that do a lot of writing. So it's definitely a little scary. Yeah, I mean, but I do think it's scary, but I do think it's also I think I think on the upside, it'll basically allow for more creativity to exist, and it'll create a market for creativity as opposed to just like raw skill, which is I think is good, because like say you want to learn piano all your life, but your parents never put you in piano lessons, right, as a kid. And then now you're at an extreme disadvantage. If you only started learning piano at 10, you're never going to be able to compete with the people that started playing piano at like 4 or 5 years old, or even younger than that. But same analogy of AI. It's like if you're trying to create something, you don't really, without AI, you have to actually have that skill, that physical, that technical skill, the hard skill to actually be able to execute on some ideas. But now, since AI can basically execute on any idea you have, you can just um, you can just it's now going to be more of a marketplace of ideas, as opposed to the ideas are going to be more of currency than the actual technical skill that goes behind that. I would think. So I mean, I do think AI will be like, this is what I think society is going to be like. I think society is going to be like, right now it's going, I don't know. I don't know if we're currently on the upward trajectory. I think we're decent. I think we're on the upward trajectory, but I think it's going to be like, right. I think there's going to be a dip. I think there's going to be a dip where things become really catastrophic, where we're going to have to like figure out how to deal with all the displaced people that otherwise would be doing the writing and truck driving, if truck drivers get automated away, and artists and whatnot. And but I do think that I am bullish about the future. I do think I am an optimist. I do think that things will pan out well. Um, if AI is an art medium, how long do we get AI generating AI? Well, that's the technological singularity. I hope. Yeah, so I hope we're decently far away from this technological singularity. I'm a little afraid of that, 'cause I don't know. I don't know, like, because the technological singularity is basically the point at which humans are obsolete, basically, right? Like you don't, right? Or yeah, I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see. How creative and artistic was your upbringing? Um, it actually wasn't that artistic or creative in a lot of. it was I remember I was forced into playing piano as a kid and I hated it. I just like hated the idea of playing piano, but I was like forced to play piano basically like um, every day, and I don't really like it that much. And then I quit, and then I got back into it as an adult. But aside from that, I did a lot of. I used to draw a lot actually. I used to be an aspiring comic book artist, and I used to spend my a lot of uh, a lot of time at my grandparents' apartment, and I would just have nothing to do there. There would be I wasn't allowed to watch a TV. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to like basically I didn't have toys or anything there. I was like 7, 8, 9, and there was just pencil and paper. And that was all. That's all I had basically. And I just drew a lot of comics. And even now, I have a ton of comic books just like sitting on my shelf where I sometimes read them, and it kind of takes me back. But yeah, I used to be an aspiring comic book artist and an aspiring author as well. I used to like write a lot of stuff. Yeah, and then I pivoted back into music around high school, and that's been my kind of main grind ever since. Interesting point. Back to the AI discussion. Interesting point. I never thought about how it can help create or help people to create without them having to have those particular skills. Possibilities for one person to make art in many different forms. Maybe. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think a lot of the time it's very unfortunate to have like that bottleneck and like in a certain like if you have certain constraints on your skill level, yeah, I mean that's. But otherwise, if you have a really good idea, like this, it'll allow people to flourish. But the downside of that though is like all the people that have been brought up with technical skills. I mean, they're still valued, but on a way smaller level as well. Um, it's not as important, which kind of changes the equation a bit because if it's not as important culturally, then maybe people will stop pushing their kids into excelling at more like these technical skills, and maybe we'll have less proficient, for example, piano players down the line because people don't really value that as much, right? Maybe these skills will go down, and maybe I don't know. I don't know. I do think a certain baseline of technical skill is needed. I think for creativity. I think like ultimately, but on the other end, it is frustrating when that is the bottleneck to your creativity. Are people that don't make art that AI makers consider art? Um, just trying to process that sentence. Well, I don't know why it's taking me a minute. Are people that don't make art that AI makers consider art going unscathed? Um, Give me a second. Low IQ hours, boys. It's probably just hot outside. Don't give me a break. Give me a break. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I do think generally, I do think that the people that don't make art, uh, they're probably yeah, they're probably gonna be fine. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, an exonym. I tried. I tried. My brain's not computing right now. uh, do you have a favorite video that you've made? Oh yeah. So Antopia is a good one. But other than Antopia, music video, outside. I collaborated with Grace, or otherwise known as Clappy Cactus, and she's like her vibe was like really good for this music video, and we made a song together, and it was really good. So I really like that video, and then the video before that as well, the evolution of entertainment in a nutshell, is kind of touches on this topic of like technological singularity, but with reference to entertainment. Okay, an exonym. I meant people. I meant like people that make poop sculptures and stuff AI people. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but like the at the end of the day, I think like art just needs like context. Like that's the thing. Um, I think the notion of art might become a little bit more skewed and a bit more broad. I think that would make more sense. I think the mediums that you can express art in are going to be a bit more loose. So it's going to be at the end of the day. I think like the calling something I've like saying something is art is always has always been kind of it's always been like interesting to think about. Like I don't know like what art is like like art seems like it's only art if it's intentionally created as art. You know what I mean? Or can art be unintentionally created? Right? Like if you make like I don't know if you're painting something and then like you're painting your walls and the paint accidentally splatters on the wall or on the ground and then you fall on the paint and then and then but is that and then all that that's created, is that art, is that or is that just like it's the issue of like my a lot of my issue like with art is that it's like a very like the whole idea of it is very like the very definition is very flexible. It can refer to like a very narrow range of things and a very broad range of things. And so yeah. Yep, meow meow. Hot weather can negatively impact conditions some way. Yeah, I maybe. If you believe that the universe is alive and conscious and literally everything is art. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like I was at, like I was thinking about it like more like last year, but the like art and philosophy, those two terms are they're both extremely broad, and something about the broadness of those terms um, kind of makes them has this like mysterious allure to them. Um, but I also think that's like not defining a term strictly can actually um, is allows for creativity. I think if art was strictly defined, then you wouldn't be able to call a lot of creative things art, which is so if you want to I guess art could be anything that's intentionally made creatively, or not even intentionally, but just things that have just been made creatively, right? Um, so in that sense, yeah, meow meow. You believe that universe is alive and conscious, then literally everything is art, yeah. Or if it's not alive and conscious too, if it's just if that's what your definition of art is, if it's a very like broad definition like that, then like everything could be art, like conceivably. So somewhere near me, someone probably dropped a paint bucket, and you can see all the bikes and people that went through it, and personally, I find that art somehow, and it's unintentional. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's the universe could be art. Like lately, I've actually been. It's actually interesting. The older I get, the more I look at plants, and and I'm just fascinated by them, and I'm fascinated by plants more than I do like actual pieces of art, because like plants are like extremely beautiful. I find in just like the way they're shaped, and it's like an art piece given to us by the universe, like naturally, which is pretty cool. And, yeah, I mean that's your definition of art. Then yeah, it's then plants are very much so a piece of art. But yeah, AI is very interesting. I feel like it's actually insane to me. First of all, the likelihood of us being conscious right now, like being alive and conscious, just like and interpreting the world around us as human beings, is already like I don't even know if you can. People say it's like it's like one divided by Googleplex chance that you're. I don't even know if you can even attribute a percentage a percent probability to that equation, right? Like I don't even know like, if you can even mathematically say what it is, what the probability even is. Um, but to add to that, that the fact that we're even in this era right now where AI is really kind of pretty much going nuts. It's very interesting, and to see this all this unfolding before us is definitely very very cool. Art is anything that brings an internal state into physicality. Yeah, that's a good one. Internal state. But what about but what like what would you think about what would you uh what would you think about like plants for example, or like just natural geometric patterns that are or like stars um, or anything that kind of developed based on natural laws of physics that just looks beautiful to the human eye? Would you not consider that art? What if art is built into the mind, seeing something random the world produces? Yeah, that could be. I honestly don't think that's art, since it's beautiful. Sure, it's beautiful, but not art. Yeah, yeah, it could be. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, okay, let's just Google art. What is art? Art, the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Expression of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty and emotional power. Yeah, so human creative skill and imagination, right? So it's so derived from a human being, right? So yeah, I mean, so then you get in by yeah by that definition, then yeah, a plant for example is not art, unless you intentionally use two plants together, or you intentionally molded the plant into such a way that'll be a reflection of what you wanted to convey. But yeah, it has to be, I guess, intentional and created by the human. Although I don't know, it's just like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I find the idea of constraining the definition of art be kind of sad. I don't want I want art to be kind of everything, but you know, What if one looking at a galaxy that's pre-existing and coming to a conclusion on what it means is the art that we witness then? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, that's, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Art is an expression of human creative form or expression or application. Um, so like when, okay, say someone like creates something or like a painting of a galaxy, right? Like, and that's their art, that's their expression. And it's just, but it's like a one-to-one replica of the actual of how the galaxy actually looks through our telescope. I mean, I don't know, like it feels like, I mean, the human just copied the galaxy, how the galaxy looks like. Maybe that doesn't even work. I don't know. I just see, it just feels like the universe is so beautiful, man. I want everything to be art, man. Yeah, yeah. Or even the arrangement of plants together in a garden. The world is cooler when art is all encompassing. Yeah, yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, it's like, imagine like humans made like this like horrific metal bridge next to like a beautiful forest. So you'd be able to call that bridge art. It's like dystopian looking. It's horrific. Spikes coming out of it like Mordor, Lord of the Rings. And then you have this beautiful forest of like animals and like flowers, and you know, it's just based on not even on an intellectual level, on a vibe level. It seems like the forest is more of like an art piece than this like, you know, bridge. A lot of plants probably have been manipulated to look a certain way nowadays. So is that art? Yeah, I would think so. If there's intention, I think art is art if it's intentionally art in a lot of cases. But it really depends on like how you're referring to the art, um, because art can also be unintentional. You could actually perceive something as art. But I think if maybe there's degrees to the actual definition of art. What are we doing, guys? Have we? What are we doing? Like, what are we talking about? What is this? Have you guys ever heard of the great outdoors? Kicking a ball around, walking through the forest, having fun with friends. What are we doing trying to dissect the definition of art? A mother crab consuming her babies is art. When that narrative structure is lived or interpreted and reproduced in from a human perspective. Yeah, 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 exactly. So, and from that perspective, then us consuming the galaxy through our senses and interpreting it, that makes galaxy art to us. So it's a matter of, I guess, subjective versus objective notions of art. What is subjectively art versus what is objectively art? And one definition of objective art is the definition of Google uh, that I paste in the chat, which is expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Um, so, so that's like objectively what art is by this human definition. But subjectively, everything could be art, right? Uh, is this me right now writing this comment on your live stream considered art? Yeah, this whole thing is art right now. This conversation is art. I was trying to navigate the waters of uh, of this conversation. This is art. Yeah, I think the problem is you do have to like take the definition. You have to like separate it into two parts, subjective and the objective. And I think once you actually separate into the two parts, it's like easier to understand. I think that's a good actual way of like thinking about it. Because if you're trying to glue together the subjective definition of art, which is basically that everything could be art, right? If it's perceived as art, and the objective definition of art, which is basically anything that it's an expression of human like creativity. If you're trying to combine those two things, you'll find a lot of like contradictions and difficulty trying to understand the idea. But maybe it's better just to split them up. But it's also less fun if we split them up. A street full of ugly old buildings that are falling apart due to lack of maintenance is one of my favorite types of art. Yeah, it actually is pretty nice. It's horrific when those rich developers come through and gentrify everything. Oh my god, gentrification is horrific. There's a lot of words spelled the same and pronounced the same that mean different things. Oh, there's a word. There's a word for a wait 1 second. Um, 1 second. Yes. Okay. So there's a word. Okay. There's this idea that a word can mean the same word can mean the opposite things. So a good example of this idea, I forget exactly what the concept is, but the word peruse. So peruse can mean to basically like, to like read over something quickly, right? Read something in a relaxed way and like, or just kind of like basically like go through it really quickly. But it could also mean to read something very intentionally, like very very thoroughly, like in a very relaxed way as well. Um, hey, are you Jewish? No comment. um, uh, 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 the declining of your brain plasticity is showing. Haha, thanks. Whatever. Just, as long as you embrace it, whatever. Why not? Ugh. It's also a hot day outside, okay? Jeez, give me a break. Contronym, is that what it is? Yes, it's a contronym, yeah. Yeah, contronym is a very interesting word. And it's like, it's yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting to see like how those words have even been developed in the first place. Like how does that like my guess is like for the word peruse, there's kind of like a vague vibe of what peruse was, and then two separate cultures kind of took that and kind of went down the rabbit hole with and how had that word mold in the context of their culture, and then when those two cultures kind of met back with each other, they kind of did another melding of that word, and then it kind of became more of a contextual kind of definition where it could mean one thing or it could mean another thing based on what like how you're saying it basically. which is really cool. That is pretty interesting. So art is a contronym. Yeah, yeah, in some ways. Eon is a definite length of time, while eon is an indefinite length of time. Is that true? Never heard of that. Eon. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Interesting. Okay, nah, I never knew that. That's cool. So an eon feels like a half contronym, I would say, because an eon is because the definition of eon is basically like a crazy amount of years. Uh, yeah, like 1 billion years. It could also mean an indefinite amount of time, but a billion years is already like a long time, and an indefinite amount of time is like basically incomprehensibly long, basically never ending. But they are basically synonymous. Why do we call it getting off the train when I don't get off anything? I get off onto the ground, then has to hold me and the train. It's a brain teaser. Homonyms. Let me remind myself what that is. A homonym is each two or more words having the same spelling, different meanings, and or okay, so it's basically just like a parent definition of contronym. In Portuguese, the word foda, when used as an adjective, can mean both something awesome or something terrible. It depends solely on context. Yeah. And a lot of cultures as well. I forget exactly which cultures, but one word can mean goodbye, and the same word can mean hello. So it's words are cool. I was actually thinking, yeah, Confucius is, yeah. I mean, like it's yeah, everything. Every word means a billion things at once, and then everyone has different ways of interpreting reality that can result in a different outcome or different ideas of what they're reading. And also, if you combine all those words, it can also create a different context. It's a lot of it's a miracle how anything really gets done. This is why we kind of have to put constraints on everything. Otherwise, it'll just be like this never-ending philosophical argument. Like I have like my one of my issues of philosophy, for example, is that like pure philosophy, you don't have any constraints in terms of like what you're doing. Like if you're doing like if you're a scientist or something, you kind of know what you're doing, what you have to do in order to converge towards a scientific explanation of something. But philosophy, you can always constantly refute things because there's no condition for anything. You can just kind of, as long as you create an argument against something, then you can poke an infinite amount of holes. In German, umfahren means to drive something over and to drive around something. That's cool. Words are fun. My thing with words is that it's almost like how people go on different trips to experience the world and experience new things. Words kind of do the same thing. Like if you learn a new word, it's basically an idea that a lot of the time you haven't really come across. So it's like, whoa! It's like it's like or it's pretty trippy. Like you're taking multiple concepts and you're combining them into this like one thing. Alrighty, goodbye, L. It's nice having you. Thanks, L. Have a good rest of your night. Words are cool. Words are great. That's very interesting. There's some cultures, I think German actually, they have like culturally they do value being very specific with their language, and so they have a lot of words for extremely niche concepts. Um, so the granularity of the words are deeper than in the English language, like generally. Um, and it's also very interesting to see like how different ideas translate in different languages. Because if you communicate one idea in Russian, it could be like interpreted differently than if you were to communicate it in English. Because the makeup of the words they're using, obviously the words are different, but also a lot of the time, the the the, the relationship of each word to all the other words in context in the sentence is different. So the meaning will be slightly different by feel, right? Do you remember a skit you did called "Who You Are Now Is Who You're Going to Be"? Oh yeah, I do remember that one. Filmed it in my room, my parents' house. That was a classic. I think it had a guy in a suit, and a guy, and then me playing a DS. I haven't watched that skit since I put it out, basically. So I need to revisit it. It's fascinating thinking about how every word I write is a blueprint for the word that I want you to build in your head. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's the problem in the world. If people understood where others were coming from, we'd have complete peace and harmony, or complete violence and destruction, because everyone would understand where you're coming from. In German, they have a thing where lower class German people are stereotyped for naming their kids foreign names. Huh? There's a word for that. Bias against these people is common enough to call it Calvinism. Wow, is that an actual concept? Calvinism. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Yeah, like that's just specific word. That's pretty cool. It's called a Kevinismus. or Kevinism. Kevinismus. I like how signed like people who just create definitions, they just have to make them sound very intellectual. Kevinismus. Oh yes, I have Kevinismus. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Yeah, it's weird having names kind of stereotyped with kind of like a social um, social class. There's a tension between wanting linguistic granularity and calling everything art. On one hand, we want to communicate accurately. On the other, we want to see art in everything, everywhere. Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean the whole. In order to define something, you actually sit down. You got to be like, all right, what is the thing that we're trying to communicate? Because if you just say a word in the ether, and then anybody can kind of like use it and in any way they want, right? Um, then that's a then that's not really it's not really like how we can operate. But if you actually sit down and like try to find an idea, the whole when you try to apply the idea of definition onto something, it'll put parameters around it and kind of force it to be something. So the beauty of defining something, it's like if you don't define it, it's basically a question mark. But after you define it, you kind of realize that concept into existence in some way or form. What if an entire community were just in a vacuum for their entire lives? What culture would they make? Would it just be influenced by the vacuum they're in rather than no factor other than them? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's always it's always pretty interesting to think about. Or the a similar idea to that to what you to that question you asked is like the idea of um, there's basically this thought experiment of this girl who basically was in this room that was like completely black and white, and she could see color, but she was only been exposed to black and white. And then when she was let outside for the first time, she saw color for the first time ever. I guess that's not it's not related at all. But Their, their philosophy will be influenced by the people who made the vacuum. Yes. The people who made the vacuum are gods to them. Thanks, Duncan. It means a lot. I'm gonna grab some more water. I'll be back. Okay. The knowledge argument. Man, it'd be really cool to be able to actually redo a stream like this with screen capture or screen sharing to be able to kind of go through these ideas. Hello, notes from Mozart. How are you doing? Love you too. All right. Some cultures have very few categories for colors. They perceive less of them. That is cool. Oh yeah, Duncan. I've been actually meaning to watch that for a while. Everybody, go check out Duncan's channel. He's a makes like a really cool philosophy videos. Philosophy slash like psychology slash cog sci videos. Check out look up philosophy of color by Duncan. You're gonna find it. That's it. Duncan, that thumbnail looks so good too. Philosophy of color. Solid thumbnail. Maybe we should just have a watch party where we watch Duncan's video. Okay. Let's check the chat. Mandarin didn't have brown until they got coffee. What? What about dirt? Are you serious? Um, that is so trippy. Yeah. So there's an article uh, by the conversation. It's called "The Way You See Color Depends on What Language You Speak." And there's a culture in a culture within Papua New Guinea um, that it's okay. I'm just gonna read it. Um, Cultures as diverse as the Himba in the Namibian plains and the Birinmo in the lush rainforests of the Papua New Guinea employ um, such five term items, as well as dark, light, and red. These languages typically have a term for yellow and a term that denotes both blue and green. That is, these languages do not have a separate term for green and blue, but use one term to describe both colors, a sort of GRU. So they have, like, I guess, an in between green and blue, but they don't have green and blue separately. And I guess that makes sense because, like, you are a product of your environment, and so if you don't see like a pure blue or a pure green, um, and instead you see like a fusion of those colors, then that fusion will become the primary color. Because we have like the primary colors, but then why don't we have, why don't we, then we also have the subdivision of colors. But if we were to displace everything, like all the colors by like a little bit, um, then we could probably get to that same groove that they have, right? That is really cool. That is really cool. English speakers see pink as a color, but it's just light red. Wow. Let me look at pink again. Yeah, that's so weird. Oh boy. We learn something new every day, guys. It's light red and finish as well. Oh. Though we have pinky thanks to English. Yeah, Duncan, I would agree with that. My take is that they still perceive these colors as different phenomenologically, but they just use different category systems to describe them. Yes, exactly. Because there's only a set amount of ways you can really subdivide your world, right? Because whenever you subdivide your world into or define certain things and refer to certain things like multiple amount of times, you're doing that because it's of a practical value to you. So if you don't see a blue or if you don't see a green in the way that traditionally we had blue and green in our culture, then why would you even denote the why would you even denote blue and green, right? Like we still perceive all the colors, but we we just like don't actually need to categorize them. Yeah. Okay. Because if you actually look at a visual artist, for example, like they are more like if you actually like think about the consciousness of a visual artist versus someone who does nothing but codes all day, for example, imagine like a programmer and all they do is code on a black and white screen and they never leave their house, right? Like the programmer is immersed in the world of logic and rules and bugs and fixes and right. But a visual artist is in the world of art and color, and so they have to be more conscious of all these art all these colors, and so they can probably define these colors more granularly as well. Like instead of using an elementary color system, they could probably define all these colors in a much more granular fashion. Yes. Yeah, I think their blue color is a bit like how people can feel ennui without knowing the word for it. Yes. Ennui is, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to Google it. Yeah, yeah, okay. A feeling of listlessness and dissatisfaction arising from lack of occupation or excitement. Basically, just like modern day depression. How do languages talk about the color of a woman's genitals without a category for pink? Well, that's why English defined it. How many colors will our children's grandchildren have after years of computer screens that can generate almost every color? Probably an infinite amount. But wouldn't it be cool to have like to be able to perceive more colors? Like imagine if you imagine like what would happen if because we have cones and rods that actually perceive the color. We have a set number of cones and rods, and then there's it's a type of like aquatic animal that has an insane amount of cones and rods that can perceive like basically like insane amount of colors. What if we had a way to kind of undergo an operation that would increase the number of rods and cones in our eyes. A mantis strip, yeah, that's the one. I'm just curious, like, would the brain be able to even handle something like that? Because of the colorblind Mary experiment, she had the capability of seeing color. Like she had the hardware, so to speak, but she was never exposed to it. But if you just modify your eyes, it still leaves the like your brain. There's a question of your brain being able to whether or not your brain would be able to handle that. Yes, yes, an exonym. That's true. Like maybe colors are all contextual. What if everyone in the world has all their colors swapped and we have no way of knowing unless we can literally see through their eyes with tech? That'd be very weird. Imagine you do that, then you're like, wow, I wonder what my friend, how my friend sees the world. It's just like horrific. He sees like the blue skies as like brown. He associates color brown with like a different vibe altogether. But it's like even if you see that, you'd be interpreting their colors as the way you interpret the world, and with the context that you have set up your colors to the rest of the world, right? So you can't ever really understand what your friend is, how your friend feels these colors, uh, basically. Yeah, exactly. If their blue brown makes them feel the same as your blue pink, and what's the difference? Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there is a difference though. Like, ultimately, right? Like, you feel the same, but there is like, it's like the colors are still inherently different. Like, what you're working with is inherently different, but the contexts have been set up in the same for both person. Like my blue, if my blue was your brown, for example, and vice versa, um, like it would still like even if we had the same context for my blue and your blue set up the same, right? Those colors are still inherently objectively different. But the question is, does that even matter? And I don't think that even matters. But I think the most you can really say about it is that those colors are different. That's it. But the context is the same. So, and the feeling is the same. So you can't really. I don't know if you can really drill deeper into that. I think Duncan says, I think it might matter though, since I feel like there are necessary correlations between colors and the environment. For example, brightly colored berries and foliage. Yeah, but yeah, I think yeah, I think, mm, yeah, yeah, as long as um, the context, I think as long as the context of each color in reference to all the, how you interpret the world and context to all the other colors is the same from person to person. I don't really see why it would be like an issue. I'm just not sure though. If the colors were swapped, it would still have to follow those kinds of rules though. But like, yeah, but like in the other person's brain, they would like for example, one of the one of the reasons why I think the human brain interprets red so vividly, like the red stop the traffic light so vividly, is because red reminds us of the blood, the color of the blood. So it's like for us, it's like a marker of like attention. Like that color really grabs us. And so in the other person's brain, if um, our red was in that person's brain like brown, for example, or like a blue, they would associate the color blue to be to be blood because blood in their brain is blue, and then stoplight is blue, and so they probably going to have the same contextual kind of same contextual connections between those colors. But like I don't know, like I don't really know the physics behind colors. I don't because maybe some because I think that like based on the wavelength, like red is objectively like a very something about red is like a very attractive. I don't know color. I don't know. I can only speak about it in this way. Yeah. So right. So even if it was swapped, they would still have the same visceral association. Yeah. Exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not sure though. I think on first impression it seems like it wouldn't matter, but I don't know. What if we had the same favorite color but just different names for it then? Yeah. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. It took me a minute. That'll be funny actually. Well, then now that would kind of put a hole in our theory. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it really depends on how people react to qualia as a whole. Like we don't really know because it's hard to refer to these to qualia as it's hard to refer to them independent of the context that they're in. Like qualia is basically like, oh, what does it mean to see red? And like that is the idea of qualia. Like, what is the color red? It's like these atomic elements of these sense experience um, uh, of our it's atomic elements of our sense experience basically. But like, I'm not sure if there's something to qualia without any context. Like I don't know if we can observe qualia independently. Don't even talk to me about Daniel Dennett. Daniel Dennett. Have you guys read that article? He makes he has this article called what is it called? It's called quinine or quinine. So you know how like there's this idea of like, oh, like I'm seeing red, and like, you know, and whenever I'm seeing red, that's like qualia. It's like I know that I'm seeing red. So his whole article is trying to disprove that qualia even exists, and that it's all in your head. I think that's what the article is about. I haven't read it in years, but I remember reading it, and then he has these arguments, these intuition pumps that are gonna um, that are meant to have you thinking about your own qualia. But like for me, like qualia is like if I can say yes to qualia, that it exists, and I can't like that is like the foundation of consciousness. It feels like, or of sense experience. Is an illusionist for consciousness. Yeah, exactly. A certain like I do respect what he's doing though. I do respect the fact that he's trying to create arguments against it. I do respect that. But I think to unironically believe in the fact that qualia isn't real, I don't know. It's a hard take to argue for. It's difficult. All right, it feels like most of you are going to bounce. Yeah, it's getting kind of late for me as well. I wanted to do a bit of other work too. So yeah, it's been a great time. Thank you guys for hopping on. Yeah, I want to do more of these. So yeah, it'll be great to see you guys some other time soon. And yeah, and then next time I'm going to try to record my screen, and hopefully we can even go through these like ideas and concepts on like a screen, and we can like actually go through these and like watch YouTube videos about them and stuff too. I think that could be pretty cool actually. I would have a lot of fun doing that, and I'm sure like you guys are going to like it too. Cool. All right. See you guys.